Absolutely. Let's take a look at our feature match here coming up for the next round. Round number 7. Who are we watching? Oh, yeah, it's our undefeated players. Shuhei Nakamura versus the Canadian Jonny Guttman. Is it Affinity up against Esper Orioles? Let's take a peek at these players here. Shuhei Nakamura is just an incredible Magic player. 33 Grand Prix top 8s to his name, 7 wins, 6 Pro Tour top 8s, but no Pro Tour wins. So maybe this weekend, Shuhei can get another award for himself. We will see. Up against Jonny Guttman, also undefeated, started playing the game in 2015 and started as a mostly online player, better known as Ginky. Had a top 8 at the Neon Dynasty Championships in 2022, playing with Team Moxfield Handshake here this weekend. Those are our players. Talk to me about these 2 decks.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at Shuhei's deck here to start. This is it Affinity? And Shuhei is playing this really innovative list here where we do see the Claws of Gix, which just looked awesome, as well as the weapons manufacturing. Shuhei is one of 3 players actually playing this kind of new breakout combo with teammates Yoshihiko Okawa and Shintaro Ishimura, aka Riser.
Yeah.
I know Monty's a huge fan, as am I. So really cool list. Maybe we'll see that turn 1 Kappa Cannoneer here this round as well. That would be the main award that Shuhei wants to get, I think. So.
Turn 1 turtle.
Exactly. There you go. And then Jonny Guttman here on the other side. Ginky at 6-0 playing Esper Orioles. This is the #1 deck here in the metagame, but normally when we say #1 deck, it's like, oh, maybe 25, 30%. Nah, 16%. So there is still plenty of decks out there. Very powerful strategy where you're putting Atraxa and Gristlebrand into the yard, Goryo's Vengeancing them back, and then instead of sacrificing them, why not just blink it and be able to draw yourself some more cards and keep around one of those gigantic creatures. Really cool deck. This is what I would have played if I was playing this Pro Tour.
Yes. All right, do you like that deck in this matchup, though?
Yeah, it can be a little difficult, especially when we check the numbers of Tormod's Crypt. Whenever you have 3 Tormod's Crypts in the main, I am not going to like a matchup when you're a graveyard deck. So, no, I don't like it, but I like the deck in general.
Okay, great. Good answer, Corey. Let's find out what happens. One of these players is not going to be undefeated anymore. Marshall and Paul, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Murray. Welcome back to the booth. That's Paul Chian. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. Thank you so much for joining us. We are headed down to some undefeated Magic here. Of course, that is a combination of both the limited portion and what we've played so far in Modern. But the sample size, it ever grows here on day 1, Paul.
Yeah, and I mean, we got 2 top quality players here with, you know, some of the decks that we were anticipating coming into this. Esper Orioles being the most popular deck, but I think, you know, when I talk to a lot of different people who are testing the Is It Affinity deck, it's kind of a late riser almost, where people kept playing with it and they're like, you know, this actually seems like it's good against a lot of what we expect coming in. And Shuhei has a really nice list, recognizing that the Goryo's Vengeance decks would be popular. 3 copies of Tormod's Crypt in the main. Ooh. And I mean, in Affinity, it's not as big of a cost because you are playing a deck that wants to play a bunch of 0-mana artifacts with cards like the Pinnacle Emissary and, of course, the Weapons Manufacturing. But that is you are saying something when you are playing 3 copies of main deck Tormod's Crypt, which should go a long, long way in this matchup.
Let's see how game number 1 goes. Is it Affinity versus Esper Orioles Vengeance? You see the namesake in hand there for Jonny. Ooh, there's that Pinnacle Emissary, though. For Shuhei, we have seen explosive starts with that card, and here we go.
Yeah, I mean, this is the ideal start. Anytime you get this going.
Yeah, sorry, thinking with the Crypt on the stack.
So there's Crypt on the stack, Trigger on the stack.
Everything.
Remember, Jonny can have a Solitude here to get the Emissary off the battlefield.
And Jonny does, but is the damage already done? Like, they get the first one.
Right, but you don't want them to get more. 23. So I think he just wants to do some damage control and just make it so that Shuhei only has the 1 Thopter in play.
He was going to get another.
Right, he was. Now Shuhei might be interested in holding off on the second Tormod's Crypt because he does have the Weapons Manufacturing in hand. So he can play the Manufacturing into the Tormod's Crypt, which would then allow him to create a Mine token.
Munitions?
A munitions token, excuse me.
Mine is probably a
I just say mine
name.
Just because they blow up.
That makes sense to me.
Things.
Yeah. And that's it right there. Weapons Manufacturing plus Tormod's Crypt.
All right, so 4 artifacts in play here. Not a huge clock, though. right? We just have the 1/1 flyer. Jonny just wants time here to try to get his combo going. Although, against a pair of Tormod's Crypts on the battlefield, I think the plan of just trying to win through Goryo's Vengeance, probably not realistic, probably really going to be leaning into the mid-range game plan of this deck, which is, of course, the package of Psychic Frog, Quantum Riddler, and Ephemerate.
And we see the Psychic Frog in hand here for Guttman, so he's got the key piece of the puzzle there, but he's going to need to get a Riddler or something to start fueling the fire. I want to rewind that turn also, Paul. What does Shuhei feel on his turn 1 there when he sees the Solitude go on the stack? Is that good for him? Is he sad?
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing with this new version of the Affinity deck with the Emissary is you really do want to have the Emissary in play, because by being able to just make 2 or 3 extra Thopters, it just completely unlocks your deck. It makes your Thought Cache, your Thought Monitors all that much stronger, and allows you to play a Kappa Cannoneer turn 2, right? Just get a giant threat in place. So, you know, obviously, Shuhei is still ahead on that exchange, right? Like, you still got the Thopter and Jonny 2-for-1 himself there. So that is something that you're totally happy with, but you totally understand from Jonny's side too, you have to slow things down there.
You can see the other upside to weapons manufacturing is that it just spits out a bunch of artifacts, and that's how you see Thoughtcast here for Shuhei Nakamura into the monitor. Just bang, bang, 1 mana each.
Yeah, and imagine if Shuhei finds in Urza Saga now, right? You just created so many of those munitions tokens. Every token you would make is an 8/8 or a 9/9 based off of this board. Yeah, also leaning on the double engineered explosives. There's actually 3 explosives main here from Shuhei Nakamura. Just look, if you play against the Boros energy decks, you have a nice sweeper where you can cast it for 1 and deal with the Ocelot Prides. Also, it's just another free artifact that you can play off of a turn 1 Pinnacle Emissary or a turn 2 Weapons Manufacturing.
By the way, just all 3 Crypts.
Yeah, just all 3.
Like, if you just tuned in, yeah, this is game 1.
Just take that Goryo's Vengeance and just you know, throw it away at this point.
Like, it might just be better to have it be a +1/+1 counter
It definitely could.
at this point. Because you can't just brute force your way through 3 Tormod's.
Right.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of these decks do play Prismatic Ending, 2 to 3 copies. You'd have to draw all 3 of them, right, to even get something going there, so. Or hope Shuhei Nakamura blows his engineered explosives on 0 right now.
Yeah, just
that would be a
decides to.
favorable exchange for. But just keep in mind, though, by the way, that explosives for 0 can be a combo kill finish. When those munitions tokens just die, it deals 2 damage to any target. Right now, there's 5 in play. That's 10 damage on the table.
All they have to do is leave the battlefield?
When this token leaves the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target.
Dude, weapons manufacturing
Yeah,
sweet.
that is a nice, not very many decks.
So he has
Affinity decks
10
are playing this
damage
card.
just in the can here?
He has 10 damage on board here. Just needs to get Jonny down to 10.
I think you have you're down to 17. I blocked the. Yeah. Oh, hit me once. Oh, sorry, 17. Yeah. 17. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, this is certainly a lot of damage here.
Hard
Jonny
cast
does find a Prismatic Ending, and here's the problem. I mean, do you just use Prismatic Ending on in engineered explosives?
Just in case that's the only way that Shuhei finds.
Right, because killing the weapons manufacturing doesn't even matter anymore, right? You already made 5 tokens off of the thing.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
It's just too late. Was that Metallic Rebuke there?
Yeah, it looks like it. And now this is 3, 4, 6 tokens? 6 tokens in play? 7 tokens, excuse me?
That's 14, 15, 16, 17?
All right.
Almost there.
And by the way, now there's 2 explosives in play. Jonny only has a Prismatic Ending for 1 of them.
I see. So Johnny's at 15, not 14. So he's just...
This is 14 damage on board just from the munitions tokens plus engineered explosives.
Crazy.
And Shuhei found in Urza Saga, which when you go to Chapter 2 next turn, I mean, I just assume that's also a lethal creature.
Man, look at how many permanent Shuhei made off of that amount of mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
19.
Or lands, I
Just
should say.
nuts.
It's just wild.
Yeah, I mean, this deck is just so much more explosive when you do get to play, when you do have that Pinnacle Emissary in your opening draw. And the weapons manufacturing does kind of an impression of that, where you have something that's in play, and you can still play all these zero-mana artifacts and still get a ton of permanence in play.
Yeah, and I mean, these are just better in this case because they're just not interactable.
Right.
Like, you can't blow them up.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is the thing. I mean, Affinity still remains as one of the best Game 1 decks in the entire format. The issue is Affinity does tend to struggle. Wrath of the Skies, extremely powerful sideboard card. We've seen decks play Meltdown in the sideboard. Even cards like Fire Magic can be very, very effective. So Game 1 is a very, very important game to win if you're an Affinity deck.
And you see the not explosive open, at least thus far here from Shuhei. He actually has a Pinnacle Emissary, but he would only be able to make one trigger off of it.
Yeah, off of the engineered explosives. He is on the draw, though, and he actually does have a Surveil land in his deck with a Scalding Tarn, so probably going to do that here and try to find another zero-mana play.
Trigger.
Johnny's hand, Consigned to Memory, a very nice card against all the various colorless strategies. Noting that I don't believe it counters Pinnacle Emissary, because it is a blue-red creature. So, which is kind of rough, because then it's going to resolve and you're still going to be able to get some tokens out of the exchange.
Both players setting up their mana with Surveil lands.
Yeah, curious to see how much of the combo Johnny kept in.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to remove all of it. It's just too many cards. But just knowing that you can't lean on that as heavily, given the fact that Shuhei has so many Tormod's Crypts after sideboard.
Go. 18.
Yeah, and take a look at Shuhei Nakamura. Could have played a Pinnacle Emissary to make some tokens, but actually playing a very, very patient game here. Not even running out the weapons manufacturing here on turn 2.
Wow.
Just keeping a Mystical Dispute, just playing it slow.
It feels like he is setting up for an explosive turn, right? Maybe dispute something, then if he can go, like, say, draw a zero-mana artifact and go manufacturing plus Emissary, then play them both.
Yeah, then you'll get
You just go,
a
"Ooh."
munitions token plus a Thopter at the very least there, yeah. But Johnny doesn't have a whole lot of action here. No, at least in terms of putting something in play, right? There is no Psychic Frog. He's got the Riddler, but probably being a little bit patient with it here. Oh, never mind. Finds a Psychic Frog here to play with Consigned to Memory backup.
And he's going to need it.
Oh, and that is a Mystical Dispute.
Yep.
All right. Can't force a negation as it is Johnny's turn. Probably getting a Steam Vents here. Oh, just basic island. Could actually have brought in Blood Moon. That is a card that Shuhei Nakamura has 3 copies of in the sideboard.
And does the basic island hint you in that direction?
It does.
And
Certainly
Johnny
does.
too?
Right. And given the fact that he's got a Spire Bluff Canal, even if you don't, it also maybe might make Johnny fetch different lands.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the first decision for Johnny. Is he going to let this weapons manufacturing resolve? It does.
Okay.
Gives him the thumbs up.
And here comes the Pinnacle Emissary, and that can't get countered.
And he doesn't have an answer for that one.
Could have forced the weapons manufacturing.
That's right. I thought he might be saving it for that, but he gave a pretty enthusiastic...
Right. Now you get a munitions token here, and then now you can play a 0-mana card.
And he does have at least
One.
engineered explosives.
Oh, and that's a Mox Opal.
And an see, this is exactly what we talked about.
Look at this.
And now it's live.
Look
as
at how many
well.
permanents are just flooding the battlefield here. Now do you
So he can Thoughtcast here?
he can, unless Johnny counters the Mox Opal.
Oh, sure.
Does have the consign to memory. This could be a good target for consign to memory, honestly, to try to slow things down.
Yes, good.
Oh no, he's
Okay.
letting it rip.
All right, he's going, well, you know what? If you play a Thoughtcast, I can still counter that.
Sure.
So probably maybe going for, is he going to let this one resolve?
No. He jumped on that hand.
Because if you
He's down to one card.
right, because if you force of negation, you go down to 3 cards. If you draw a land, you can go Prismatic Ending plus Riddler and draw 2 cards off of that.
Okay, so he did counter it.
Yeah, and Shuhei is now just down to the explosives, which you can still play to make another Thopter and a munitions token.
And he's going to.
Yep. And, I mean, he's got 2 creatures in play, but the emissary goes away. So, again, not a ton of pressure, but
Yeah, he's
he
not
does,
empty.
he does have the explosives plus all the munitions tokens in play. Now, Johnny does have the answers there with a pair of Prismatic Endings in hand. And don't know if Johnny, because Johnny could Solitude, Prismatic Ending, and then Warp in the Riddler to draw 2 cards. But there's like not a great creature to remove.
No, there's not. I guess he could also earmark it for when Shuhei actually casts the
Yeah.
emissary. He's
Right.
going to go Prismatic Ending.
Doesn't want to take
On
a ton of
explosive.
damage off the munitions.
He's just going to pass.
Okay.
No Riddler here.
Waiting on the Riddler. All right, and Shuhei's only play here is to attack for 2, play out the Pinnacle Emissary here, and probably just play the Bauble. Just get as much damage in as possible.
Yeah.
All right, just play this too. Jeez.
Found another free card. This
Right,
one's
the
Bauble.
trigger's good.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
think about the...
Yeah, so Johnny does have Solitude
sorry,
here.
This is on cast trigger? Yeah, cast trigger.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, of course. Everything's good.
Yeah, so there's no opportunity for Johnny to Solitude the Pinnacle Emissary before Shuhei casts another spell.
Exactly. And Shuhei's not going to get his card off of Bauble straight away. A lot of Shuhei stuff is sorcery speed. It was another explosives, it looked like.
I mean, if an explosive resolves, that's 10 damage.
Yeah.
No, 12
The
damage.
trigger on the stack. Yep.
Solitude the Emissary. Trigger on the stack. So now you get to draw 2
21.
cards off the Riddler.
Draw 2. Yep.
Looking for possibly an Ephemerate here. That would be quite strong. He does have the Prismatic Ending. No good targets for the Prismatic Ending here, though.
Let's see what Shuhei finds with his draw step. He has that second
Wow,
engineered explosives.
Shuhei could potentially just
13.
He's
kill
almost
Johnny
there,
here, right? There's 2 0-mana artifacts here. So if you play the Bauble and then you play the explosives, I mean, that's 14 damage. I guess that's not... Wait, Johnny went down to 13, right?
Yeah, I think he's at 13.
Yeah. He's at 13,
It's
and
just
now
gonna
this is
be
14
lethal.
damage. Yet, don't want to lose the Bauble for nothing. Is he just going to go for it, blow it up?
It's
Play
hard to
around Consign?
imagine.
Because he's just thinking about Consign.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
13.
Yeah.
It's like, should I go for it? I mean, if it gets countered, it gets
He's
countered.
going for it, and that is
Oh.
undefeated Shuhei
Jeez.
Nakamura playing next round to stay that way and be the only undefeated player overnight. Wow, Johnny just had to sit there and watch, and you can
I
see the
mean,
look. He's just like, seriously?
Look, coming into this, I do not think a lot of people had losing to weapons manufacturing playing for undefeated, but it happened twice.
It happened twice, and it was really impressive as a combo. I mean, that was kind of the vibe that gives. You know, when you think about Affinity in the more old school manner, this didn't really have anything to do with that.
No, absolutely. It's a completely different deck. It almost has a combo element to it because you're already just putting a bunch of permanents into play. You're
Yeah.
drawing a bunch of cards. So you can either kind of chip away, win with Urza Saga and some creatures, or you can just establish that combo that Shuhei used to win both of those games. Weapons manufacturing kind of acting as a redundant Pinnacle emissary, but also you just get to play free 0-mana cards. Engineered Explosives is just a good Magic card. That's a free spell, and then every now and then, you can just blow up the world.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you could see them trying to get as many of these free spells in. Like, you know, if they had any thought about the Tormod's Crypts, it's like they probably wanted something like that anyway.
Right.
And they're just like, well, maybe the format, boom, there's 3 of them in there in the main, and
I wonder,
easy
like,
game.
were you just supposed to counter the weapons manufacturing? It's weird, right? There's a lot of interesting decision points there, but of course you have to time your counters well, and yeah, I mean that was tough. But maybe afterwards, now you're just like, okay,
for sure.
Maybe the manufacturing actually is very important.
Yeah, both the emissary and the manufacturing seem to be the engines that made that whole thing go. Great stuff from Shuhei Nakamura. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be right back in the feature match area with more Modern here from Atlanta. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to coverage here at Pro Tour Edge of Eternity. It's Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Cheon. We are in the booth. Oh yeah, we've got a whole Magic Con happening. You can see this is Artist Alley here, where you can meet your favorite Magic artists. They sign cards, you can get merch. It is all happening here in Atlanta. And that includes the Pro Tour. That's Paul Cheon. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got more Modern here in round number 7 for you, where we have Luis Salvatto, who we've seen play a couple of times earlier today, and Hyuma Nishi sitting down across from each other. It is a somewhat typical matchup you could see in Modern. It's Tameshi Belcher versus Eldrazi Tron.
Yeah, and we saw this a couple of rounds ago, and Luis Salvatto had a field day, at least when he played that matchup, where he actually got to cast Emrakul and then take over his opponent's turn and then have them Belcher themselves. Can Luis pull it off again here?
Yeah, it's the same exact matchup that we saw before. That turn was disgusting.
Oh, yes.
It was also an unkind gesture to his own teammate.
Right, absolutely. And Hyuma Nishi here playing the more traditional build of the Mono Blue Belcher deck, where he does play the 2-mana creatures in the Phalagia Archaeologist and the Thundertrap Trainers to go with the Flare of Denial.
Yeah, these decks don't share a lot of cards in common, but they have at least somewhat similar plan of trying to make 7 mana real quick.
Right.
And we see that Nishi is going to take one step in that direction here with the Lotus Bloom on suspend here on turn 1, right when you want it.
Right.
Power plant map. So this is a fairly typical opener as well for any Tron-based deck trying to assemble those 3 Urza lands.
Now Nishi on the play here with the Lotus Bloom on turn 1 here. So just the biggest thing if you're on Nishi's side here, there's 2 really important cards in the matchup that you need to be mindful of. The main deck Disruptor Flutes, of course, that's in Luis Salvatto's deck, and also just being mindful that when Luis Salvatto gets to 4 mana, he can just deploy Karn, and Karn is absolutely backbreaking. If you can resolve the Karn, and especially if you get the Karn and then get the Flute, all of a sudden, as the mono blue player, you need to answer both the Karn because you can't activate the Belcher and then also the Flute.
Yeah, Luis has a Disruptor Flute. He also has a Pithy Needle.
Right? You also have Pithing Needle. And then, of course, if you have a ton of mana, you can just get the Stone Brain, right?
Oh.
And you just get Stone Brain and just exile all the Belchers. And unless Hyuma also goes for the Tameshi beatdown plan, it doesn't really work as well against the Eldrazi deck.
Not so much. Although the Thundertrap Trainer, you know?
Right?
You never know.
But Luis does have 2 Tron lands here, so that will be turn 3 Tron. And I do see, wow, there's a Flute and also a Karn here in Luis's hand. But Hyuma Nishi does have a Disrupting Shoal. The question is, does he have the right blue spells in hand to be able to counter either the Flute or a Karn?
That's right. You have to line them up exactly with the Shoal.
Right, and there's not a lot of 4-mana blue spells in the mono blue Belcher decks. There's Waterlogged Teachings. That's kind of a variable card. There's 1 to 3 copies of it. If you expect a lot of Eldrazi-tron, you probably want to go up to 3 Waterlogged Teachings just to make sure that you have more 4-mana blue spells to copy Karn with the Shoal.
This just shows the power of Tron here. Luis on the draw, and he's about to have 7 mana. There's the mine.
Now, Hyuma could, of course, also just have Flare in hand, and he has a pair of creatures in play, too. But Luis, I mean, will have 7 mana, and if he's got a Flute in hand, right, the fact that you can go Karn, if that gets countered, you can still play the Flute.
Just have 3 mana.
And you know, hopefully Hyuma doesn't have double free counters here. But yeah, this is, of course, an ideal start here for, I guess, both players, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, the
Turn 3 Tron with 2 pieces of Disruption. Turn 1 Lotus Bloom, double Trainer, free counter in hand. Now, of course, we don't know what Hyuma has. Could just not have a Belcher, right? But
right.
You know, even if Hyuma has something like a Tameshi, could draw a ton of cards. One of the lands in play is a Seagate Restoration. If you play a Tameshi, you can pick up the Seagate Restoration, cycle through some Lotus Blooms, and then cast it in to draw a ton of cards.
That's nice. There it is, Urzatron. The only question now for Salvatto is what direction does he want to go with it?
Right, it's like, okay, do I lead with the Flute or do I lead with Karn?
He's going to definitely be thinking about Flare of Denial.
Leading with the Flute. And if you're Hyuma and you have a free counter, you kind of just have to counter this in some way. So either through a Flare or the Disrupting Shoal. Now, if you have the ability to Shoal this and you have a Flare in hand, probably better to just keep the Flare in your hand because it counters anything, and then you just Shoal away a 2-drop if you can to counter the Disruptor Flute.
Yeah, it is interesting. You know, he just played a 2-drop. Wonder how much thought is given to that from Salvatto's side. Well, did he let it resolve?
I think he did.
I mean, he may just not have anything
Right?
to counter.
Yeah. Now Salvatto has basically kind of 3 options, I suppose. You could, if you named a Lotus Bloom. Yeah, okay, you name Charbelcher, which is of course the thing that you want to name. But you could name Tameshi. You could name Lotus Bloom, I suppose, if you want to make Hyuma pay 3 mana to cast the one coming in. But here's the Karn. Does Hyuma have a counter for this? Okay, he does.
Flare of Denial is going to send Karn packing. Karn does what Disruptor Flute does anyway. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Not a lot of targets for
Yeah.
Dismember, and he had an extra mana floating.
So having both of those creatures, turn 2 and turn 3, was so big
Oh,
here
he
for
could have done
Hyuma.
it first.
Right.
Oh,
Because
wow.
usually if you have a Dismember against the mono blue deck, if you have a Dismember, you just fire it off on the creatures, because that way, if they don't have any creatures, they can't cast Flare anymore. But against 2, you can't really play around it. So 6 mana available, but I mean, even casting Goblin Charbelcher would cost 7 mana here.
And then it would do nothing on the battlefield
Right.
until the flute's gone.
But if Hyuma has a Tameshi, you know, there's certainly some interesting things he can do here with a Tameshi, with the Lotus Bloom. Feels like a Tameshi here. Not a whole lot you can cast in this deck, right? It's Tameshi or a 2-mana creature.
Right. It's
All right,
Tameshi.
there is Tameshi. 3 white.
3 mana. White. Sure.
And Hyuma hasn't played a land for turn yet either.
Right.
So 3 mana here, and then with the 3 lands in play, Hyuma has access to a ton of mana here. Tameshi plus Lotus Bloom is a fantastic combination.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Draw a card, get Lotus Bloom in play, 2 mana floating with 5 mana now. Okay, giving himself 5 white now. Can pick up another land here, get the Lotus Bloom black.
That's exactly
Right.
what he's going to do.
And he does have the Seagate Restoration, remember, so now you can sack the Lotus Bloom if you want, or even more mana. 3 blue,
What could that mean?
and then you can pick up another land here just to make sure you have the bloom in play, because that's the only way to get white mana, really, with the Lotus Bloom. So if you pick this up, you also draw an additional card, right, because you have all the lands in your hand. So now you can play an untapped land, go to 14, cast Seagate Restoration, and
Do you just do
I
it
don't-
for all of it, or
just, yeah, I don't know how many cards Hyuma has in hand, but it's going to be a lot. And once you cast Seagate Restoration, you don't even have to discard the hand size. And this is the power of Tameshi Lotus Bloom. Additionally, if Hyuma found like a disruption, if Hyuma found a Sink into Stupor or an Into the Flood Maw, could just win the game too.
yeah?
So if he does have a bounce spell plus Belcher, he just wins.
So much mana this turn.
Has to pick up a land. Okay, so now has 9 mana, up
9
to
mana.
12. Has played a land for turn. So 12 mana available here for Hyuma Nishi. Is this Sink into Stupor?
It is
He
Sink
must
into
have a he
Stupor.
must have a Belcher here, right?
He has given that indication.
Yep.
And there it is.
Yeah. Wow.
20U. Nice
What
turn for
a
Nishi
draw.
there. Incredible.
I mean,
Wow.
he just beat turn 3 Tron with a Karn and a Disruptor
That's wild.
on his turn 4.
Wow.
Wow.
Where he made 12 mana, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
Tameshi.
that's rough. And with Luis, there's not too much you can do. That's the best you have, right? And you just have to hope they don't have all of it. And Hyuma had, yeah, a bounce spell plus Tameshi plus Belcher all in hand.
And Hyuma drew the... Do we think that he had the Belcher or drew it off of that one?
He may have revealed it off of one of the creatures. All right, but turn 3 Tron here, and Luis is now on the play. And Hyuma does not have a Lotus Bloom. So this is looking much
Yeah,
better
this
here
is
for
way
Luis.
different. Yeah.
Hyuma does have the full 4 copies of Consigned to Memory after sideboard, which is very strong against Eldrazi along with 2 copies of Hurkyl's Recall, which
Really?
can also be very good against various Artifact Disruption. And I don't know if he's going to bring this in, also has 2 copies of Harbinger of the Seas to shut down the Tronland. So
Very nice.
that tells me he doesn't maybe necessarily love this matchup and has a lot of cards for it.
And there you see it. Once again, 7 mana, this time on the play, turn 3. Oh, and now Nishi finally finds a Lotus Bloom, but this is a little late.
The delayed Lotus Bloom here, and Luis with a ton of mana here.
Though he didn't do anything with it yet.
Yeah, this likely has a flute in hand, maybe just runs that out, just kind of test the waters, have Hyuma run through his counter spells at the end of his turn, and then maybe Luis can untap and then resolve something else that he has in hand.
Maybe Kozilek's Command.
Yeah, that can certainly be a card as well. Take 3 Hydroelectric Specimen. He passes, you could be signaling, of course, just the ability to just hard cast Flare of Denial, but also just War of Invention potentially to get a Lotus Bloom.
Wow, so just nothing there from Salvatto.
All right, playing it very, very patiently here. Doesn't want Hyuma to actually pay mana to counter things, wants him to pitch, right? Use the pitch counters to be down on cards. And Luis with tons of mana here.
He's just said go again.
Yeah, well,
has,
the thing,
9 mana?
The thing is, he's not. The thing is, I think he's choosing not to do anything until the turn where he feels pressured, where Hyuma could actually go off.
Okay.
And right now, Hyuma's not in that position.
He doesn't want to open up the door.
All right, so 3 mana, perhaps a Magus here. All right. There is, excuse me, Harbinger of the Seas, the blue Magus.
Right.
And he dismembers, and I mean, this just shuts down all the extra mana here. Luis now has extra pressure here to try to resolve some of the spells in his hand.
He's going to tap this before the Harbinger enters the battlefield.
Could
That'll
also
prompt the flute.
And also, if you have a Kozilek's Command, for example, you could float the mana,
Yep.
let it resolve, then kill the Harbinger, and then either make a bunch of spawn tokens or scry and find more threats.
Looks like he's getting an Oracle on consign there.
Yeah, it's got Replicate, which always makes things more interesting as well. Okay,
Wow,
so couldn't use that extra mana, so just the flute in play. And now just has 4 islands to work with. And it's really hard for, I mean, there's Dismember. That's a good one.
Is that Trinisphere?
That is, yeah, that's Trinisphere. That does turn off the free counter spells, right? If Hyuma wants to play any of his pitch counters, has to pay a full 3 mana. This is just a card that Luis just naturally boarded in because, you know, this deck is it's a Wish sideboard, right? So you have Karn and you leave a lot of these kind of quote-unquote silver bullet type cards, these one-ofs that are really strong in certain matchups. But, for example, if you find that you have Karn and you're often getting a Pithing Needle or a Stone Brain and you almost never get the Trinisphere, just board it in.
Yeah, what Paul means by Wish sideboard is it's a sideboard filled with one-ofs that are good in certain situations and primarily can be searched up.
Right, through Karn, which is the most powerful card in the deck because it just gives you answers to basically all the matchups that exist.
But of course, between games, you can just bring in those cards into your deck.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes it's better to have them searchable. You have 4 Karns and only 1 copy of that silver bullet.
Right.
It's safer in the yard. But if you have stuff you need to bring out, you'll see stuff like this.
Yeah, the funny thing is the most common card that there are multiples of in the sideboard are the Disruptor Flutes. But Luis is just playing all of the main anyways, right? 3 main, 1 sideboard. So he's already kind of pre-sideboarded here for this matchup. Hyuma going for a War of Invention here. 3 mana. Okay, because of the Trinisphere, of course.
Goblin Charvelter. No, Goblin Charvelter.
What did he name?
Yeah, this one. This one. The one that I just is this one.
Ah, Belcher.
Belcher.
Charbelcher.
Oh, so he's naming Charbelcher again? It seems?
3.
I guess we'll see, because the other one doesn't have anything on it. One card that can be pretty effective here is if Hyuma finds something like a Hercules Recall and bounces all of those artifacts.
Right.
Minus.
Into this.
Ah, sorry. Plus.
Yeah.
Pay 3.
Cost 3 mana to
Ah,
cast
okay.
because
Yeah,
of Trinisphere.
You are still casting it.
Yeah.
And you hear Nishi say, oh.
And you're going to pay, right? You still
Yeah.
get the mana back if you need it, so. I'm always excited
What?
when the players have access to Seagate Restoration mana.
18.
Mhm.
11. Okay.
I don't know if that's going to happen, though. And Luis needs to find something to play here. Now, we're on 6 mana, right? So now if Luis gets the 7th mana source, if he has something like an Ugin in hand, you just cast it, right? You just cast it and get the Harbinger off the battlefield, and all of a sudden, all of your lands are unlocked again.
Yeah, I mean, with no pressure to back it up,
Right.
just find 7 lands the good old-fashioned way.
Oh, okay. So the first flute named Consigned to Memory. Okay. So now that's going to cost lots and lots of mana to cast. I'm actually curious. I'm not even 100% certain on this, but when you have a Trinisphere plus a flute on Consign, what would a Consign cost? Is it 6 or is it 3?
Oh,
Sorry.
Or 4, rather. Who's untap each spell? It costs at least 3 to play, so I'm guessing 4?
yeah, if it allows other things
Yeah.
to stack up more.
Right, so I'm guessing it's 4 with the flute, because the flute makes things cost 3 more to cast.
Trinisphere comes last.
Yeah.
Poor Trinisphere.
Is this going to be another Tameshi beatdown situation? Surely Luis has something to deal.
Yeah, no
Magus.
way that it's
There's actually creatures in this deck.
right.
Hyuma deep in the tank here. Yeah, and the only issue with, because the blue decks don't actually have ways to kill the flute, it's like, it feels pretty bad when you bounce it, because it just has flash and you can just kind of play it again.
Yeah,
right? So you
definitely.
really have to find a time where, you know, maybe Luis is tapped out for something to be able to fire off the recall and just try to win immediately,
White 3.
So 1 flute's on Consign, 1 flute's on Belcher.
right? This could be a Tameshi here.
Does have that inkling, doesn't
1 white floating. Oh, yeah. All right, we get to see Tameshi.
Meshi with the 1 white.
Right, so can draw 1 card. And remember, activating the Tameshi is not the same as casting something off of the Trinisphere. So you don't have to pay 3 mana to get these Lotus Blooms in play. So this is a lot of mana that Hyuma can generate. Every land in play is effectively 2 extra mana here.
Which is the same thing that we saw prior. I'm just curious where that goes this time.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what Hyuma is working with here, because you still need to deal with the flute on Belcher, which Luis can replay. But when you have access to so much mana, perhaps Hyuma can brute force this and bounce it twice even. All right, here we go. Tameshi doing so much work in this matchup. Kind of feels like you're almost just playing some other format, Vintage or something, right? Where you're just recurring Lotus Blooms over and over and over again.
This feels exactly like that.
And Luis just no dismembers, nothing here. Not that dismember would do anything because you can just cycle through this over and over again. So currently at 11 mana with potentially 15 mana if he picks up 2 more lands.
Once again, Salvatto is forced to look across the battlefield and see a player making significantly more mana than he's able to.
Right.
Even though he's playing Tron.
In his cheaty mana deck.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems that Salvatto doesn't have any way to interact here. He just has to watch.
Yeah.
Like you said, he does have access to Dismember, but he just doesn't have it.
I mean, I figure if
it,
well, also this thing, if he had it, he would have used it on the Magus, right?
Yes.
Long time ago.
That's right. Yeah, he could use a couple of Dismembers here.
Yeah. Well, this is the fun part, though. What does Hyuma have in hand?
Well, I want to know what he's got.
With 15 mana available. All right. Okay.
Well, that's going to give us a hint.
Okay.
Goblin Charbelcher
9 mana
is
available.
Unlocked.
I mean, when you're doing this, you're going for it.
You're just doing it.
You're doing it. Are we bouncing Trinisphere too, or here we go.
Do you need to?
Nope. Just running out the Belcher, seeing if it resolves. In response, Luis is going to go for this. Now,
he does have to pay 3.
Hyuma can just hard cast the counterspell here and then just go for it, right? Like if you just have a Flare of Denial, you just sack the Lotus Bloom, cast Flare, and then use your remaining mana to use the Belcher for the win. I think that's it, right?
That's exactly what's happening here, Paul. Hard counter target spell, just straight up cancel.
That's right. You have 5 mana. Activate Belcher.
And that's going to be it.
Oh,
Hyuma
man.
Nishi improves to 7-0, and we'll get to play next round to stay undefeated as well with Tameshi Belcher. And well named, that Tameshi was absolutely critical both games.
Yeah, unbelievable even. I mean, having access to 15 mana out of basically nowhere and fighting through Trinisphere and double Disruptor Flute and a turn 3 Tron opponent. I mean, that was just a masterclass in just showcasing what this deck is capable of through all kinds of hate cards.
No kidding. Both times that he started to go off, he was facing down one, or either had faced down or was facing down 1 or 2 different disruption spells.
Yeah, and was just able to just go navigate through everything. And that's just the power of Tameshi, right? You get that Tameshi going with the Lotus Blooms. All of a sudden, I don't care if you make me pay 3 mana to cast spells. I have all the mana in the world. So as long as I just have the answers for your threats, I can just hard cast everything and just brute force my way through victories.
That's right, because, you know, it turns out a lot of the ways that the decks choose to shut down Charbelcher and that type of stuff is through mana increasing ways. So if it's like, what if I spot you 15 mana?
Right.
You know, like now what can you do?
Yeah, there is no more tax when you have access to 15 mana.
That's right. Yeah, really impressive stuff there from the Belcher deck and able to finish off quite cleanly. We've got yet more magic here in round 7 for you. We have Gabriel Nassif versus Jason Yee. And as you can see, these players both on 5-1, including Nassif with that Blink deck that we saw a little bit of earlier. Didn't do so well on camera when we had it earlier, but this is the, you know what, I'm just going to go blue-white. And it plays out, I don't know, you described it somewhat like a little bit of a mono-white deck that also has the Riddler plus the Riddler combo, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a mono-white Blink deck with Quantum Riddler and some counterspells in the sideboard. That's effectively what this deck is. It's able to put a lot of pressure there with the Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride combination, but you can also grind people through to the late game as well because you have the Warp Ephemerate package in your deck as well.
We've got game 3 here between our two players, and as you can see, we are playing slightly faster than normal because this is the type of matchup that can go for a while. On the other side of the battlefield, Jeskai Chant. We did get to see a little bit of Orum's Chant earlier in the day.
Yeah, really cool deck. I did not think Scepter Chant would still be a modern, viable thing to do, but
That is some
apparently
old
that it
school-
is.
I mean, that's like
because-
old legacy stuff.
I mean, I think that was probably one of the first modern decks I played way back, and you know, back when modern was still very new. But
Yeah.
now there's just so many good threats. But Orum's Chant just turns out very good card in this format, and so if you have a good enough excuse to be able to main deck a card like Orum's Chant, why not put a Scepter or two in your deck?
I think it's also like, what kind of a Magic player are you? Are you an Ocelot Pride or an Orum's Chant? You know, you got 1 mana to spend. What do you want to?
Right.
One white mana. What do you spend it on? Different approaches, no doubt about it.
Right, Teferi bouncing a token, drawing a card.
And that's it.
Yep. Teferi down, I assume.
Teffers is not going to be around after this.
All
Just on principle, Nassif will kill any Teferi on the other side of the
Right.
battlefield, regardless of the board state.
Yeah. Quantum Riddler, is there a
here
blink
we go.
effect?
Ephemerate.
Ephemerate.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, and it resolves. So this is quite the board here now that Jason has to fight through. Quantum Riddler, Ocelot Pride, and a token. There is Wrath of the Skies. Jason has a copy of that in the sideboard. Not particularly good at killing Quantum Riddler, though.
Speaking of, there's another Teferi buying time and bouncing the Riddler. Long term,
Right.
not really where you want to be.
But it does make it so that the Ephemerate just doesn't do much here.
Yes.
So Nassif not even casting it.
Nassif says, one at you, one at Teferi.
Right. Okay,
Again?
another one.
Again?
Another Ephemerate. Yeah.
Oh, he has it
okay.
again.
Wow, this is a lot of cards here for Nassif. 4 cards have been drawn so far off of Riddler plus Ephemerate. And I suppose the Guide of Souls was drawn off the Ephemerate. This is lots of life being gained. Is this not quite the City's Blessing yet, right? 4, 5, 6. Oh, no. Yeah. We're on 9 right now.
9, exactly.
Yeah. So next turn, if a token gets created, we get double the tokens, or an additional token, rather. This is a really big board. I wonder if, like, would Scepter Chant get it done? I don't know how many counter spells Nassif will be bringing in.
That was Orum's Chant there for Jason.
Right. And this is more of a mid-rangey matchup, or mid-range versus control almost. And so I just, if I see an Orum's Chant here in Jason's hand, I just kind of assume that there's also Scepter in there, that's still left in the deck.
That is still in.
Because otherwise Orum's Chant's not particularly strong against a deck that's just playing one-mana creatures, right?
Right.
You kind of want to just put the combo together.
We did see this Orum's Chant get exiled to Solitude, which is going to take care of the Riddler, but it's got to be a tough pill to swallow to say, I'm going to Solitude your Riddler after it already came into play 4 times.
Did we just see a Day's Undoing get cast?
Yes, it did.
All right. Well, both players with a fresh 7. Now, of course, this is a really good combo if you have Narset in play, but there is no Narset in play.
And then what happened? It just ends the turn, right?
Right, so both players...
Like Jason
just,
doesn't get to play
right,
anything.
but has access to 2 minutes. So if you play a deck with a bunch of instants, it's not so bad because maybe you can play something here. But both players with a fresh 7 and Nassif with a very solid board here as well.
This is going to be upkeep. Orum's Chant? Is that what's happening?
It looks like an Orum's Chant, yes.
Yeah. Now that it's Nassif's turn.
So Ephemerate does not get cast. Nassif can simply...
Because you're just not allowed to, right?
Right.
It's still being cast. And it was kicked.
So no attacks either.
But that is 2 chance down.
That is 2 chance down, but this is a pretty big turn because Days Undoing was cast where Nassif could have deployed a ton of threats. But now it's on Jason gets the first person to actually get to take advantage of all the cards that were drawn.
Pretty nice. There's the Narset, by the way. Where were you?
Right.
This deck looks really annoying.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
Teferis and Narsets and draw 7s.
Prismatic
and
Ending,
Orange Chance Scepter. Like, this is
Yeah.
just unbearable. I love it.
Guide of Souls. Right. Ooh, Spell Snare.
Spell Snare for Philia.
Yeah.
Not feeling it.
All right. And I think that's a Consult the Star Charts, and that would be a kicked Consult the Star Charts here for 6.
Whew.
All right. That's a good way to try to find Scepter Chant, right?
Definitely. Both of them.
Yeah. No white card for that Solitude in hand, but of course you could find one with the Star Charts if you absolutely need it.
Yeah, Kick Consult at this point feels like dig through time.
Yeah. Curious what Nassif is working with, because Nassif, remember, does have a fresh 7 with the Orange Chant. Wasn't able to play anything last turn.
That's right. So this is the first time we get to actually see what's there.
See another Philia. It's an attack. If Nassif plays a land, would have the city's blessing when the token comes in. Oh, double flagstones.
Yep, tap one
Okay.
for mana first.
Right, and then go fetch a Meticulous Archive is my guess. The land comes into play regardless, so nice to get a Surveil land that's a plains. Keeps it
Ooh.
very quickly as well.
Yeah. That must have been an absolute no-brainer.
1 mana. Okay. And we're targeting Jason's land. How many basics are in Jason's deck? Wow.
Is this the type of deck that's weak to this, or
No, it is not. 2 islands and 2 plains.
Oh, geez.
So you cannot, it is much more difficult to get kind of cheesed out by various multiple Boseiju Ghost Quarter type effects. Or in this instance, the White Orchid Phantom. But that's 3 basics, so only 1 left in Jason's deck.
Is this Nassif sideboard just bringing in more things that can attack?
Just random small creatures?
Yeah.
Sure seems that way.
Sanctifier Envec? Like,
Yeah, that doesn't
what is
do
that?
a whole lot in this matchup.
I mean, it just did, I think, nothing when it entered the
It doesn't
battlefield?
die to Galvanic Discharge, I suppose.
Wow, you went deep.
Well,
I like it.
it's got some protections.
But it has 2 power. Is that the?
Yeah.
Is that the?
Jason
sell here?
has lots of planeswalkers, and the whole plan is to just kind of hide behind them, get some value, and if you just overload your deck with a bunch of creatures, there's probably just worse. Oh,
Jeez.
can't be countered. Supreme Verdict.
Nassif
Ouch.
has cast a lot of those in his day, but
Wow.
he is not going to like to see that one on the stack. There's Philia,
And counterspell for the Philia as well.
actual counterspell.
Yeah. Great, great turn there for Jason.
Jason does have Scepter,
Does have Scepter.
Isochron Scepter in hand, and we think that there's 2 more Orum's Chant.
Nassif has Quantum Riddler in hand. Could just cast it.
It's a good thing for Gabriel Nassif,
Yeah.
because he's going to need to get rolling again here.
It looks like maybe just playing the Angel here instead, as it's warped, could get how much energy?
A Pride or something?
You could get a Pride, yeah. Mockingbird is an option. All right. So nice little reset there. Pat through the Supreme Verdict.
Board state back.
Board state back. There's also Scepter Consult the Star Charts. You could do that.
Get an engine rolling.
Yeah, just get an engine rolling, lots of card draw. You're just looking at so many cards, but actually just casting it here, kicking it even. For 6.
Still 6.
Yeah. The Supreme. Ooh, and
There's the
found the
chant.
Orim's chant. Okay. Now, Nassif does have consigned to memory,
Yes.
which he could use to counter said chant. Oftentimes, what we've seen in some of the previous rounds is you want to try to find a Teferi, have that resolve, then your opponent can't counter you back, and then that's kind of the lock. Teferi plus Scepter plus chant is more or less the hard lock. Okay. Taking the damage here, and we will see a couple of cat tokens get created now. Ooh, shocking. Is it Riddler time?
The full Riddler?
It feels like it's the full Riddler.
It's only
Oh, and that's 4 mana.
though.
Okay. Just playing a Witch Enchanter. Oh, sure. Just casting it so that you can warp in the Riddler and then draw 2 cards.
Okay, just to get it out of your hand.
Right. I think Nassif is thinking, okay, what is Jason's plan here? Of course, it's to assemble Scepter Chant. So just trying to find potentially more counter magic here. A second Consign, perhaps Mystical Dispute.
We see Solitude from Jason. That's going to target the Riddler. Oh, but we're going to see Consign. Consign to memory does protect it.
Yeah. And Guide of Souls. But now Nassif is tapped out.
Yep.
And does Jason have Scepter Chant?
Jason had access to it, so I would
and there's
say...
a Teferi, too.
Yes.
That's
all
the
the
lock.
pieces? Oh. And there's
Okay.
Teferi.
There's Teferi. Does Nassif have some way to counter this back?
I assume no, and we
Yeah,
did not
just the
actually see
land.
Teferi.
Oh, found a Teferi.
Really?
So you can use the Teferi to bounce the Isochron Scepter.
Yes, and that actually strands the orange.
But can't
chant.
cast it because he's been chanted, right?
He has been chanted.
Yeah. So needs to find some instant speed way or a counter spell for Scepter Chant. Not a ton of that.
Another Consign,
Yeah. And now this is the hard lock.
and that's it. The Consign's out.
Teferi is out. Teferi, Scepter Chant. What can Nassif do from this point?
I think nothing.
Jason just explaining, hey, you can't do anything from this point on.
So what? How does the game end in Jason's favor?
Right. I think
Is it
Jason's trying to
is it-
explain what's going to happen. I will play Narset. I will play Days Undoing. I will not be able to deck. I will eventually cast a bunch of Solitudes, kill all your things,
Yep.
and just find a way to win this game. But it is not possible for me to lose from this spot unless you want to just go through the motions where
Right.
we get a
The only thing
draw
you can do
or
is activate
something.
Abilities. I don't believe you have an Odawara or anything like that in your deck that can stop this.
Okay.
Alright, the games.
And that's
Oh.
gonna do it.
Do I win if I just hold
Jason Yee pulls off the combo. Wow.
Wow.
You cannot cast spells. You cannot attack. You cannot cast things
Oh,
outside
man.
of sorcery speed. And you
Scepter
cannot
Chant.
win the game. And that's going to do it.
I think I played this deck 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, something along those lines. And the fact that it's still a solid, viable deck is incredible. I
That's
mean, getting Teferi going with the Scepter Chant, wow. What a strong
That
combination.
really narrows it down.
Right.
You heard Jason mention Odawara as one of the few ways that's an activated ability, so you're not putting it on the stack. It can bounce non-land permanent, so it
Right.
can actually hit it. But Jason also said, I don't think you have it. And Nassif said, you are correct.
Yes.
Good game. And that was it. Yeah, pretty wild to see cards like that still seen play in Modern. But, you know, the text, you can't cast any spells, is pretty strong. If you can find a way to abuse that, it's still there.
Also, if you just think the card Ice Crown Scepter is pretty well positioned, if you don't think people are going to have a lot of instant speed ways to deal with that, and even if they do, if you just play the game very carefully, make sure you get the Teferi, clear up the board, get Teferi in play first, then you just, at some point, that's your combo, right? You're a control deck with the combo where once you get that all online, your opponent simply can't do anything, and there's just not that many people playing the card Otawara in their decks.
That's right, and Nassif wasn't one of them, unfortunately for him. He did say, would I have won if I just, but I couldn't hear what he said after that, so he immediately was rewinding, and this is what the really great players do. All right, that's going to do it for us in the booth this round. We're going to take a short break. When we'll be back, we'll be at the news desk setting up for our last round of Swiss here on day one. Don't go anywhere.